Hey guys, this is John Kalam from KHL Motorsport, and we're doing this video to show you guys what we think about the Changan CS75 Plus. The Changan CS75 Plus was provided to us as a test unit by Changan Motors Philippines. So thank you so much guys for lending us the unit for our evaluation. Doing this review, well, for me, doing this review has to begin with the Montero Sport. Or not necessarily the Montero Sport, but it could also be the Nissan Terra, the Ford Everest, the Toyota Fortuner, the MUX, Isuzu MUX. These are some of the top-selling SUVs in the market, in the Philippine market today. While I'm sure that these vehicles are quite good for their intended purpose, there's one major turn off that I have about them. These vehicles are so huge, but they don't have much interior space. They're quite cramped inside. Getting into one of these cars requires you to literally climb onto them. Yes, they do seat 7. They seat 7 people inside. But why get a Montero for the purpose of seating 7 when you can just get an expander or an MPV of that nature, and it's cheaper and it has more space? You can blame their body construction. These SUVs have ladder frame chassis. So this type of chassis, basically the body is separate from the frame. So the body is here and this is the frame, and then when they connect it in the factory, the engine's already in the chassis, the drivetrain, and then the body has all the stuff, and then they just mate the body to the chassis like that. Unfortunately, that type of construction results in a cramped interior because you have to make room for the chassis on the body part of the car. The more modern car design, however, is called the monocoque or the unibody type of body construction, where the chassis and the body is one unit. So the frame, which is the body that you mount everything, the engine, the suspension onto the uni-frame. That results in a lighter car and a roomier car. But this video is not about the Montero Sport et al. This is about the Changan CS75 Plus. I'm championing this unibody SUV, or others like it, as an alternative to the crude yet very popular ladder frame SUV options out there. At first appearance, this is a very handsome car. The grille is reminiscent of a Lexus. It kind of really looks like those new Lexus SUVs out there, but it has a Acura, upside down Acura emblem, so it's kind of weird. But I think it's more sedately styled than the Lexus, because the Toyotas usually tend to be a bit crazy design. But they put a lot of compound curves and character lines that kind of don't make sense. But the Chang is a bit cleaner in that aspect. It looks quite handsome, and it's not really designed with restraint, but at least it's a cleaner and curvy design that's easy on the eyes. Overall, it's smartly styled and not an embarrassment to be seen in. Ignoring it to be Chinese, of course. So if you're coming from a basic sedan commuter mobile like me, it's kind of big. It's very similar to a Montero Sport in size. It's just a few inches shorter than a Montero Sport, but it's slightly wider, in fact, if you look at the specs. But it's a bit shorter a little bit, but it doesn't look small, that's for sure. And height-wise also, it's very similar to the Montero. And let's go back to the front. Okay, of course, I did say the grille is interesting, very Lexus-like. The headlights actually are pretty good. They look good, of course, and they work good, which is more important. At this price point, you are getting LED full LED headlights and taillights. These OEM spec ones from Changan are actually pretty good because I tested them at 4 o'clock in the morning with a light drizzle on the expressway going at expressway speeds, and I could see outside no problem. So they're very fantastic. Way better than halogens, to be honest. And yeah, the rear taillights are LED like what I said. They're pretty nice looking as well, and the third brake light is pretty well integrated into the rear deck spoiler, which is interesting as well. Very nice touches on this car. The exterior is pretty nice, but the most enchanting thing appearance wise about this car is the interior. The interior is quite bewitching, to say the least. I'm used to plain black or gray, monotone interiors in the cars that I'm used to. But to see this dark maroon leather interior furnishings, the upholstery is very nice. Driver seat is very supportive, very comfortable on long drives. It has side bolsters, especially if you are attempting to be a bit frisky or driving it on mountain roads. You have the support, the side support to handle those corners very well. It's really a sporty experience, and that's also that can be indicated on the design of the steering wheel. It has a flat bottom, like a D-shaped steering wheel, that evokes a sporty pretension to the car and also gives more room between the steering wheel and your thighs. So you can easily adjust yourself fine in this car. The steering wheel tilts and also telescopes. The driver's seat is electronically powered, so you can really get just the perfect adjustment to your seating and driving position. So you'll be very comfortable. This is a very comfortable car for daily driving and long drives. I was able to sit in the car for 5 hours straight, and I could actually sit for 5 more. So that's very comfortable, at least on the front passenger side. The rears I haven't really tested, but I'm sure they're also going to be made out of the same foam material, and they should be as supple as the front seats. But again, this is only a 5-seater. If you need 7-seaters, I highly recommend the expander or things of that nature. But the expander won't get you this premium executive feel that this Changan has in the interior. I really like the interior. It really reminds me of a Mazda Interior, which is not a surprise because Changan and Mazda have a technical partnership of some kind in China. When you touch the aircon grills, to adjust the position of the air blowing to your face or whatever, you touch metal. It's not plastic. That thing that you touch to move it around, it's metal. So they really didn't scrimp on the interior. You can also see the arrangement of the vents. It's very Mazda-like. But one thing about the aircon controls that I like, that when you press the aircon controls, it's a touch sensitive. It's not a button. It's like touching on the screen of your cell phone. And when you touch the aircon controls, it vibrates. It has like that haptic touch to it. So that's kind of neat. It really gives this car really a high-end feel, very high-end feel. One thing that is very gimmicky about the interior is the 7-inch LCD screen acting as the gauge cluster, and it also is tandem with the 12-inch entertainment display. It plays the radio fine, okay, and that's where the 12-inch also shows you the aircon, whatever controls and whatever apps are available. The piece de resistance of its technological package is the 360-degree camera, which makes driving this car way easier, especially when trying to park it. So maneuvering this car is a doddle because of the 360-degree camera. Fantastic, I really like it. Yeah, the rear compartment is very huge. It can store probably whole months of groceries, no problem. So this car's a very good grocery getter. But how does this car drive? Driving the car really surprised me. The car is only fitted with a 1.5 liter engine. So such a huge car, but it only has a 1.5 liter engine. But this 1.5 liter is turbocharged. It is direct injected and turbocharged. So it's a pretty modern design of engine. And it has 178 horsepower. So it's no slouch at all. It gets up and goes. It's not a sports car by any means, but it does not embarrass you. It gets up and goes really well. You know, you get boost around 1,400 RPM starting. So you can lug the car around. It'll still give you ample performance. And given that it's a small engine on traffic, it will really give you great fuel consumption. I will not give fuel consumption details. I will not say it now. If the official fuel consumption figures are released by Changan, I will put that on the description below. However, suffice to say, this car is very fuel efficient, surprisingly, despite its size. Dynamically, as far as driving it, minor disappointments in suspension. The fronts are okay, but the rears doesn't seem to be balanced. I don't know if it's wear and tear or it's really designed like that. But when you go into undulations, it kind of goes like this. You really feel the rear settling and bouncing. So I don't know what's the solution to that. Maybe it's just a quirk of the car, but it's otherwise comfortable. It absorbs ruts and potholes just fine. But definitely, it's more comfortable than a ladder frame equipped SUV. Ask any Fortuner owner out there. Suspension is in Tagalog matagtag, or very bumpy and jumpy and bouncy, very stiff. Even the Montero Sport is not a soft suspension, it's very stiffly sprung. The Chang is definitely a multitude of levels more comfortable than those cars. Overall, I have to admit, I like this car, even though I'm kind of biased against Chinese cars. It's really a big deal that I find this car very impressive. But if this is the output of one of China's leading manufacturers of automobiles, so the Changan CS75 is a worthy consideration for your pesos. You can also look at the Geely Okavango, the MG RX-5, and other large China SUVs. Another one is the Tiggo 7, the Cherry Tiggo. If you're on a budget but you want an experience, a premium SUV feeling, I think the Changan CS75 is worthy of your consideration. Do test drive one out and see if you really like it, because I really like it. Whether I would buy it at my own personal position in life, I like the 35 better, CS35. It's smaller, so I don't know. I'm at this point in time that I like relatively smaller cars right now. So, of course, if you compare it to the 75, it's slightly decontented because it's a cheaper car. But I might seriously consider buying a 35 if I could afford it. Again, check out the whole range of Changan vehicles at the Changan dealership nearest you. Okay, try out the 75. You might find it to be an appealing choice. And based on latest price lists I've seen, it's only 1.3 million pesos. So it's not that bad. If this is content that you like watching, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please like us on Facebook. We are Kuhol Garage on Facebook. We are KHL Motorsport on Instagram. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope to see you on the next one. Take care and God bless. See you guys.